You know, 10 years ago, I entered a speech competition under the theme My Dream Bahamas. And I was about 9 years old, and it was my first time talking for a trophy, so I was very nervous. I remember my heart beating outside my chest, very much like it is right now. And I remember wiping my small, sweaty palms on my jumper and remembering every single word I rehearsed. But the moment I opened my mouth, every reservation just left because I believed in every word I spoke. I believed in my dream because my dream is my treasure. And it was a pretty good speech, if I say so myself. And so afterwards, the then Minister of Education approached me, shook my hand very diligently, and looked me in my eyes and said, "Great speech, Anicia. I will work hard to make it possible." And at the time, I believed him. Years later, my teenage self would have the opportunity to pitch the same Dream Bahamas to the then Minister of Youth. I told him how I dreamt of a country that really embraced the abilities of young Bahamian creators like myself and created an environment for them to have fulfilling careers at home while also affording them opportunities on the international market. And he too seemed to believe in my dream. And he looked me in my eye and shook my hand very diligently and said, "I will work tirelessly to make your dream come true." And at the time, I believed him as well. But time would say otherwise. I'm a little older now, and I've spoken many more times in many different forums. But I, like many young people my age, am still waiting to see the Bahamas my 9-year-old self first envisioned. Even at such a tender age, I knew what needed to be done to change my country. And if my 9-year-old mind could conceive such a notion, then surely, possibly, the men and women responsible for leading our country could as well. Yet, despite the assurances given to me time and time again, looking me in my eye and shaking my hand diligently, young Bahamians are still little to no better off. Young Bahamian men continue to be incarcerated at alarming rates for possession of small quantities of marijuana. Youth unemployment is the highest it has ever been, and we are still bound to an education system which has failed to adequately meet the needs of learners in the 21st century and continues to fail students every single year. The question I am compelled to ask is why? Why in the 21st century Bahamas do our leaders seem incapable of addressing the concerns of young people? And I've thought long and hard about this question. I've pondered the financial implications to the public purse and even thought about the manpower concerns that could affect this dream from becoming a reality. But even as I thought on these things, I watched the government put their monies and their energy in other things like the gambling referendum or stem cell legislation or Junkanoo Carnival. And I became keenly aware of the fact that when this government wants something done, they find a way to make it happen. If our leaders were interested in fixing education, it would have been fixed. If creating opportunities for young people were a priority to them, more opportunities would exist. If a stable economic environment and Bahamian ownership were really so important to them, we would not see acres of land, our land, being sold to the highest bidder. Listen, the evidence speaks volumes. We, the young people, are not and never have been made a priority by our leaders. But this reality broke my heart. It really broke my heart. I was discouraged, to say the least. I wanted to cast aside the Bahamas like how they seemingly threw me to the dogs. But God. Can someone say, but God? But God would have me see the green light on a day very much like today I received a call from a DNA representative that said, Anicia, we have a place for you. Not used to this kind of opportunity, I fumbled and accepted the invitation, unaware of what would become. But you see, the DNA doesn't just speak political rhetoric. I'm sorry, whew, the devil really trying me today. The DNA don't do silly dances either. Listen, the DNA works hard so that young people like myself could get to hard work. Rather than empty promises, I and others like me were able to craft party policy. We were able, with the Young Democrats, to create a vision book that specifically addresses the needs and concerns of young people in our 21st century Bahamas. My involvement in the DNA has shown me that true leadership isn't cheesy dances or cliche taglines or even just a bunch of T-shirts. True leadership understands and values that the input of young people value now and not just during election season. This party has shown me that young people can and should be playing a significant role in the development of the country with no gimmicks, no empty promises, and my God, please, no phony handshakes. Like me, the DNA believes in economic diversification and the creation of an orange economy that supports Bahamian creators. Like me, the DNA believes in the power of renewable energy and has created a plan which reduces our dependency on crude oil. The DNA has a plan, not a dance, a plan, a real plan for education reform that embraces technology in a real way and finds ways to accommodate every single type of learner. And that is the kind of Bahamas I want to live in today and every single day. That is the kind of Bahamas I want my children to live in the future. And that is the kind of Bahamas the DNA wants for every single one of you Bahamians. Listen, every day I don my green shirt looking very nice, looking real good. I go out there and I fight for my dream. I fight for my dream Bahamas because my dream is my treasure and the DNA is the chest that is keeping it safe. And if your dream is anything like mine, then there really is only one party for you. The Democratic, say with me, Democratic National Alliance. Let me tell you something. The Bahamian dream courses through my veins. It lives within my soul. It is in my DNA. The question is it in yours? Good evening.